Hello everybody, Christina here. Just wanted to give a normal intro for all of my regular viewers, but today is actually going to be a much different kind of video than usual. I tried to do kind of an ASMR chill session drawing kind of thing, and I'll talk a little bit about that in the beginning of the video, but I just wanted to say hi in my normal voice so that you can get off on the right foot, and just realize that this video is a tad longer than my normal videos, but I really wanted to shake it up and try something new, so I will let myself take it away. Hello everybody, Christina here, and today we're going to try something a little bit more low-key, a little bit slower, a little bit more relaxing. We're gonna pretend that I am the Bob Ross of my generation for a little while, and we're just going to try a little bit of a doodle session on my big canvas here. I don't have a whole lot of plans for this one, so I thought maybe what we could do is we could all be happy little trees together and draw some gnomes. Now, for those of you who don't know what gnomes are, they are these cute little creatures, and my mom really enjoys them, where they're basically all nose, hat, and beard, and that's just what they are. They're adorable, and my mom has gifted me at least 3 of them since like Halloween. So we're gonna take a stab at gnomes today, and I'm gonna kind of walk you through it, and we're gonna just have a chill time together, and hopefully with 2 mics on me and 2 cameras rolling, I'll get some usable footage out of this. So without further ado, let's get started with our gnomes. Alright, so for a gnome, basically, like I said, they're all nose, hat, and beard. So, what we're gonna do is start with the nose. That's a cute little nose. It's not perfect, but that's okay. You can kind of refine yours too if you're drawing along, and I invite you to draw along, because this one's gonna go a lot slower than normal, and I'm just using a Sharpie on paper, which is something that most people in this world have, so I'm inviting you to draw along with me. And now that we have a nose, what we're gonna do is give him a little bit of a hat. And I'm not gonna give my gnome like the bridge of a hat, because that's a little bit more advanced. We're just gonna start with a really simple gnome. So instead, he's gonna get something like that. Just kind of a line with a little bit of a bridge that goes downwards towards his toes, and then I'm gonna darken up the parts of the line on each side of his nose, just to accentuate that that is the actual line of the hat, and this is just to guide us a little bit. And then I'm going to kind of go up a little bit with a straight line on either side. That's pretty cool. Now you can kind of see where his hat is coming into play. And I'm gonna give him kind of a fantasy style hat. So most gnomes in the fantasy worlds have hats that kind of come up in a point like this. And you don't have to be super duper precise about it. You just gotta get in there and give it a try. And I'm gonna kind of round off his hat, because I feel like that makes him seem more gnomish and less like someone who belongs in a church. And because he's kind of got this nose here in the way, he's gonna make his hat go up a little bit. So that's what that line is. And now we'll add some more details to this later, but let's give him his beard right away so that we don't go forgetting about it or anything. So the basic shape we're gonna make is something like this, kind of like a heart, where the middle of it would be about on the bottom of his nose, and then we would make a heart. And if you need to make the whole heart to get the idea across there, you go right ahead. And then I'm just gonna add some lines here that make his beard seem kind of fuzzy. And you can play with this however you want. You don't have to add anything like this to your gnome if he's not particularly fluffy. But all of the gnomes that my mom has given me are pretty hairy, so I'm just gonna do this with mine. Very cool. And now let's give him a little bit of a body. I don't want him to be super tall, I don't think. So what I'm gonna do is just make the bottom of his body match up with the very bottom of his beard. So we're gonna give him a little bit of a butt there. Mine's a little bit crooked, but that's okay. You can always adjust if you're at home, and that's kind of the beauty of these things. And so I imagine that his body would come from kind of these corners of his hat and go outward. So that's what I'm gonna do. But you can make your gnome whatever shape you want. Look at that. Very cute. And if we give him a little bit of a shadow, look at that. What a cutie. All right. Very cool. Now, I'm gonna give him a little bit of a shiny on his nose, just a little oval right there. And if you want to get really fancy about it, you can put in a couple other little dots. Now, I don't think I've ever seen a gnome with a shiny nose, because most of the time their noses are made out of those little puff balls that you can get at the dollar store. But I think if these were actual creatures, their noses would be kind of shiny. So that's what I'm gonna go with. And now, I don't want his hat to make him seem like he's a church figure or something like that, so let's make it kind of wintry. I think that I'm just gonna add a little ruffle to his hat here. And it's not something that I originally planned on, but that's kind of the beauty of artistic stuff like this, like doodles and all that good stuff, is that you can make it however you want. And it does not matter as long as it makes you happy. And even if it doesn't make you happy, you probably got some good practice out of it. So that kind of helps it out a little bit. I think it makes him look kind of like a dwarf a little bit. But I also want to put some of those like winter stars that you sometimes see in like sweaters, I think. Like knitted wool sweaters. I want to put a couple of stars going around his hat like this. And this is just how I'm designing my gnome. You can go nuts with how you want your gnome to turn out. Let's see here. That's a good start. I actually think that the stars that I'm thinking of have like little, they have more points than these ones do. So I'm gonna add a little something in between. And this might end up looking goofy, but that's okay. That's part of the beauty of it. You know, I kind of wanted to do something like this because I see a lot of YouTubers out there who like to do tutorials on how to draw better and all that, and it's always very intense. And I just wanted to do something for me and for you that's a little bit more chill and easier to handle and more fun to do, because that's what art's all about. It's all about having fun. And now I'm just gonna add in like a little pattern that I think maybe a gnome with like a Scandinavian hat would have, like one of those knitted ones that I was talking about, and maybe we'll add in just a couple of diamonds here. This is a very diamond heavy design, and that's okay. What do you know? That's pretty cute. We could probably add in a little bit more here though. Maybe I'll sneak the Zelda design in there. I'm blanking on exactly what that's called, but that's okay. And then maybe I'll do a line around the top of his hat that has different size stitches on it. Very cute. And now I just want to give his beard a little bit more texture. Kind of cover up those lines from when we just kind of mapped out where his beard would be. Don't have to be real precise about stuff like this. And if you guys really like this kind of video, I'd really love to do more of them. So leave a comment and let me know, or send me a DM, or however works for you if you know me personally. And I will prioritize doing more videos like this, just because they're kind of fun and goofy. And that's kind of the whole point. And all of my art time lapses where the video's all sped up are great and everything, but sometimes it's nice to do something different. And I think that this is something different from what's on YouTube already. And I think it's something that kind of calls back to what we all need right now, because we're all going through a very tough time with COVID and all of that good stuff. And we just need to slow down sometimes and be in the moment and not dwell on everything that's happening outside, and just kind of take a minute for ourselves and our own lives and do something that makes us happy. And that's what I'm doing here. And I hope that you can join me, even if you don't think you're good at drawing, because it's kind of fun, especially when you can just sit here and keep making lines in his beard and just talking with your friends. That's what it's all about. We can all be happy little trees together. Look at that. And maybe Sharpie markers are ASMR in some way. Never thought about it, but it could be a thing. Look at that. He's a happy little gnome. And this is all that a gnome is. For those of you who didn't know them before, they're just a hat and a nose and a beard and a body. And that's what kind of makes them a lot of fun, is that anybody can make a gnome. And they're really simple, which is really, really great. So now I think I'm gonna draw a pair of gnomes over here. And I'm just making sure that they'll end up on camera. Maybe I'll draw them down here. And I made a pair of gnomes for my mom and my dad for Christmas. I crocheted them and they were just really little, and maybe I'll put a little picture of them in here to kind of show you. But basically it was 2 gnomes, so let's start with 2 noses. I'm gonna give them a little space apart. Whoop, one nose ended up much bigger than the other, but that's okay. And then each of them had a sun hat on because they were going fishing. So I gave them a hat like this, and then in order to give it a brim, you do something like this, and it'll always go over the nose a little bit and around. And then both of them had a little ribbon around. So let's do the other one with the ribbon. And then boop, boop. Perfect. And then my dad's had a big old bushy beard, just like this guy has. And my mom's had some really long hair instead of the beard. So it went back like this. And then they both had their little gnome bodies. So something along those lines. And then the funny part about it is that I've had my dad with his fishing pole here, with the fishing line, and then a little bobber. And my mom had little hands that were holding a big old fish. We're gonna adjust that a little bit, and then I'm gonna color the fish in just so you can see it better. That fin doesn't quite seem right, so we're gonna make it bigger. And maybe we'll make the fish bigger too. So it looks like she's holding up a big old fish. And it's funny because Dad Gnome hasn't gotten a fish yet, but he's still holding his little fishing pole. So those were the kinds of gnomes that I made in crochet for my family, and I wanted to make one for my little brother too, but he is not in the state at the moment. So I ended up going with a more art-centered idea for his Christmas gift, and that's alright. So that's kind of how these guys went. And I'm just gonna give them a little bit of a zhuzh, give them some details here. Look at that. They're so cute. You can make cute little gnomes just like this. If you're feeling sad, make a gnome. If you just want to doodle, make a gnome. If you feel like you draw eyes too much, make a gnome. Hint, hint, that's one of the things I'm insecure about. Drawing too many eyes. But that's okay. As long as you're drawing, that's what matters. So those are my gnome parents. And then, what kind of gnome should I make next? Let me think on it a minute. I know. Let's make a little gnome, and what kind of a position should I put him in? Let's give him a little bit of a turn so he's not completely sideways like these two, and he's not looking directly at the camera like this guy, but he's kinda sideways. And I'm gonna do, what kind of hat should I do? Let's just make a decision. We'll just do a pointy hat, because that's what gnomes are known for, with a little ball at the end. That makes sense. And then I want to give him like big ol' mask. And you can see how I draw masks on the Among Us video that I made a while ago. I did a little bit of a tutorial there, but I'm just gonna do something like that. Now he's got his little mask on, and you're not supposed to have masks and beards, because then the seal gets broken, but he's gonna have his beard because he's a gnome. I think he'd be lost without his beard. Here we go. And maybe he's all fuzzy. Maybe we give this a little bit of texture. I don't know if I love what I did there, but that's okay. He's just a gnome, doing gnome things. Yeah, he's kind of cute. I can get on board with it. What other kind of gnome could I do? Let's try something right in here. Let's do a Dracula gnome. No, wait, they don't have mouths. I can't do Dracula without fangs. We can do a Frankenstein gnome. He's gonna be looking straight at the camera. Oh yeah, I want to give this guy a little... There we go. He's gonna be looking straight at the camera. And then I'm gonna give him his head, which is kind of like a hat. And we'll just make these lines into stitches. And then I guess Frankenstein isn't a very fuzzy kind of dude, but we can give him the same kind of qualities by giving him big ol' feet. Now he's kind of cute, like that. And give him his butt, just like that. And the little dots on his nose for these little shiny lines, basically. And we'll give him his bolts on either side. And he'll be all sorts of stitched up. And I'll give him 2 little eyes right there. Roar! And Frankenstein always had big, like, combat boots, so let's stick with that. Well, that was an attempt. I don't think we came up with a gnome, but he's kind of cute. He's kind of like a marshmallow. Marshmallow Stein. Roar! Let's do one more, and then I think I'll let you guys go. So, let's put him over here. I know that there's a shadow in the way, but I think you can still see pretty well. And let's do a character that already has a beard. Let's do a wizard like Gandalf. And we'll do him kind of in this sort of, what do you call it? This pose, just like this guy, so he's partially sideways. Okay, here goes the Gandalf gnome. So, he always had a big, almost like witchy hat. So that's what I'll give him here, kind of a bigger version of the hats that I gave my mom and dad gnomes. And it'll just have a big, witchy kind of top. Very cute. Alright. And then he has a really big fluffy beard already. So I'll do that, but I also want to give him his staff. So I'm gonna give him one ball as a hand, and he's gonna have his staff just like this. And it kind of comes down to a point. And it's kind of all gnarled up, so let's give it some character. I don't know, I don't really remember Gandalf's staff in particular, but I'm gonna go with something kind of like this. It's a little bit magic-y. And then I'll finish up his beard here. And then he kind of has a cloak, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a hood here, and then I'm gonna give him kind of this flowy thing. Cool. And I'll give him his little dots on his nose. Very cute, and I'll put a little bit of texture on his hat. Give him a little bit of beard texture too. And some shadows in his robe. Now that's really cute. I'm a big fan. Now we can probably give him a shadow right about here too, because that's where his hat would have a shadow. Very cute. And now he's ready to go and cast magic. Alright, well, I think that these are our gnomes for today. I had planned on drawing a little bit longer, but I think since this is a little bit of an experiment, I'm gonna stop there. And next time, maybe we can draw something a little bit more complicated, maybe isn't the right word, but I'm thinking that I've got some ideas in mind as to what we could draw, and we might start with pencil next time. But I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please share it with your friends. I'm trying to grow my channel. We're only at 22 subscribers as of the time that I am recording this video, and it would be really great if I could get a little bit of engagement with a community, because I want to know what people would like to see, not just for my own personal gain, but because I would really like to contribute to art in the world, and there's a lot of things that I could be doing on the channel that I'll be playing with, but I really want to know what people enjoy. So please share this with your friends, and maybe they'll enjoy what I'm trying to do here. And if you have any ideas of what to draw, maybe let me know for next time. And otherwise, I think I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much, and I will talk to you another day. Peace.